Okay, bear with me. It's been a while. I have been a little bit sick, so if it sounds like I am recovering from a cold, it's because I'm recovering from a cold or something. I don't know. So I've been sick for a while, so um, I have not done much video stuff, but being sick does afford you plenty of time to assess IEMs. And you know what? I've had these for a couple weeks. The Ziigaat collaboration Fresh Reviews Arete, whatever you want to call them. Currently have the SpinFit CP1025 tips on them. They are a hybrid, I believe. Don't even remember the specs. I don't have the original accessories or the other half of the original box on my desk at the moment, but it's a hybrid single DD. I want to say it's 3 or 4 BAs that are branded. And the finish on them is quite nice. The construction is classic Ziigaat before they started getting a little bit nicer recently. Although I will say they look pretty nice. The construction feels okay. I'm just not a big fan of how kind of light and plasticky the Ziigaats feel. Something about the resin, maybe. I'm unsure. They're not particularly aggressively molded or anything, so pretty generic fit. They should fit mostly okay. I don't have any comfort issues per se. I have them here on a Truth Ear gate cable that I had sitting around because when I received these, it was just the IMs themselves in the original box with some tips. So I didn't get the case or the original cable, which is fine because I don't care for them at all. And I think if you're going to spend the 200 some odd dollars that these are, that Ziigaat should be giving you more than what you get anyway. So it's basically like I wasn't missing out on anything. Yeah. So got these secondhand in a trade for my Lush. Shouts out to that person. And I will say I like these better than Lush. In terms of basically everything. They have essentially the same shell, but I like the way this shell looks a little bit better, and I like the sound a fair bit more than Lush. However, probably not going to be keeping this guy. They're just a little bit, to put it in in anime terms, kind of slice of life, right? They're satisfying enough for probably most people. They're not going to be exciting like a shonen anime like Chainsaw Man or Bleach or whatever, but they're nice. They're all around nice, and musicality wise they sound pretty good, but to me are a little bit unremarkable. So they sound almost good to a fault. Just not a lot stands out to my ear for these. I guess, do I want to discuss anything else before we jump over to the graph? Not really. I mean, these are the tips I have on them now. I did try them with the final Type E for a bit. Coffee tips. These, like, Z-Sin silicone guys from AliExpress with a filter in them. They're pretty consistent between all those tips, and yeah, look at that. They are quite pretty, but let's get to how they sound. I'm going to jump over to my screen. I did graph these. They're on my Squig site, burnedin.squig.link, and here I have them pulled up with the tips I was just explaining that I've been using. I tend to measure most of my IEMs with a variety of tips because while the treble on the 711 coupler is a little bit untrustworthy in terms of truthfulness, there is something to be said about the differences that show up. For example, here between the Type E and the CP1025, you can see the Type E tips kind of kill a lot of air, and kind of disperse that mid to upper treble a little bit differently. And honestly, it looks like this would drastically change things, but to me, this set is so mild-mannered that I didn't really notice much. I mean, I prefer what this green line would be here, the CP1025's kind of signature. That's more of a wide bore. Pretty much anything with a wide bore is going to give you a signature like this. For example, if we do coffee tips, you can see it still has that 15K peak. Zelastex, a little bit smoother, but still ton of that upper air comes through. So tips like the final Type E, sort of standard, more narrow bore, are going to give you a more controlled sound, and wide bore tips are going to give you some more air. So kind of par for the course as far as tips go. You can see the Dunu SNS kind of do a little bit of funny stuff with that upper air, but I didn't spend much time tip rolling these. It sounded fine basically on everything. So I'll just put that original comparison back up here. These are the two basic kinds of sound signatures you'll get depending on your tip and how they fit in your head. You can see the graph is sort of an in-between of kind of HBB's target and a Harman IE 2019, sort of everything up to, I don't know, what is this, 2500 hertz, 2.5k hertz, something like that. Even earlier if you're comparing to HBB's target. But what you get in regular words is a sub-based sort of low-end presentation, flat mids, and just enough energy in everywhere else to get a decent stage. I mean, the staging's actually pretty good. Imaging and all that is accurate and fairly open. I wasn't necessarily impressed, but it doesn't feel closed in or intimate. It's just these are sort of a just right at everything kind of IEM, which is excellent as far as products go, but boring as far as my own collection. So this was just these are so middle of the road for me that I'm not going to hold on to them, but I do think that they're a good solid product, especially if say you're new to IEMs and want to get something with a safe tuning, something inoffensive, relatively satisfying for about anything you want to do, consume media, game, music. They're pretty much going to handle everything. Probably better than most things as far as versatility goes, but just they don't wow me. So take that as you will. Graph wise, nothing really sticks out as troublesome. This big air peak looks like it might hurt, but really it doesn't. I will say, as far as bass texture goes, it's okay. I find these a little bit too sub-bassy for my tastes. I prefer a little bit more energy in the mid-bass region, a little more thump. But they'll do some rumble, and things sound fairly accurate in the mids here. What with this fairly flat presentation, the ear gain is such that female vocals, most vocals in general, will have enough energy to not sound flat and dead, but not necessarily be shouty or over energetic. I don't recall ever feeling like these were a sibilant set. They handle pretty much everything for listening to music. They might be a little too smooth for, say, mixing, mastering, editing. They probably wouldn't be all that truthful in terms of if a recording is sibilant or if you're monitoring audio. but these are not for that, really. I believe this is marketed towards the gamers, if I'm correct, and I don't do much gaming. If I do game, I don't usually rock IEMs, so there's that. But yeah, this is a really mild-mannered set that is going to be just right for most people, excellent for maybe a few people, but boring for idiots like me who like a little bit more flavored tunings usually. As far as neutrality goes, I mean, these don't sound particularly colored one way or another, except for they're a little heavy on the sub bass for me. Everything else sounds more or less correct. You're going to get all the information you probably want, unless you're a really critical listener and you want every little detail. But all around, yeah, these are good. They're just not my favorite tuning style. Ziigaat stuff is made well, but I don't like generally their fit and finish and presentation. I mean, they're built well. It's just a little bit boring for me. These aren't spectacularly built, but they're not cheap. I would prefer a recessed 2-pin. This cable I've stuck on them is not really much better than the stock cable that it comes with, and this cable is from a $16 IEM, so bear that in mind. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. If you don't watch anime and didn't understand my slice of life reference, then they're kind of mid. They're a little, I mean, they're better than mid, but they're a little too boring for me. But I can almost guarantee they're going to sound just right for the majority of people. So yeah, check out the Squig link if you want to play around with the charts or see any of the other measurements I've done. I will be making some other videos soon on some other things that I've been listening to here and there. Got some stuff on sale recently, so if you give a shit, stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, or if you have questions, feel free to comment. Hit me up on Instagram, wherever. And yeah, that's pretty